It's a flip. No question.
Live streaming.
Oh.
My husband's got him on the track.
Yeah.
He's wearing his shirt.
Recording in progress.
And also his security.
Yes.
So the boys are hanging tonight.
Yep.
Action.
For all I know, he's gonna be gorging on the brownies.
Dinner.
Yeah. Actually, they make some conversations.
Yes. Yep.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Kingston Historic Landmark Preservation Commission meeting. It is Monday, May 13th at 6:30. We're at City Hall. I just have a few quick announcements before we begin tonight's meeting. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I'm the Planning Director for the City of Kingston, and our office administers the HLPC. If you have cell phones on you, we just ask that you please silence your cell phones so that we don't interrupt the meeting. We would also ask that in the case of an emergency, that you please do not use the elevator. If you need assistance down the stairs, please ask and we'll help you. If you do need to use the restrooms, they're out and you go through the council chambers. On the other side of the building, men's is to the left, to the front, and women's is to the rear or the right. If you have any conversations that you need to have outside of the conversation with the commission itself, I just ask that you take them out of the room. You can feel free to use the chamber, or there's another conference room on the other side of the chamber as well. And with that, I'm going to open the meeting at 6:34 p.m. and introduce the chairman, Mark Brumblatt, to introduce members of the commission and begin the meeting.
Hi, thank you, Sue. I'm Mark Brundblatt. I chair Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. I'm going to ask each member present to introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Andrea.
Andrea Putes, I'm the architect of the commission.
Nettie Morano, Commissioner.
Kevin McAvoy, Commissioner.
All right.
I'm Ethan Dickerman, I'm the Historic Preservation Administrator.
All right, then we all know Sue. So first order of business will be our minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of the last meeting? Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Andrew Pughes moved.
Do I hear a second?
Nettie Morano second.
Thank you kindly. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Hi.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote yes. All right, moving along. 601 Broadway, UPAC. Someone here on that? I'm so used to seeing you on stage.
Sorry.
You're just as dazzling in person. All right. If you could give a quick overview of the project.
Yeah, we're replacing the windows in the second floor facade, building of UPAC. You can see them all right there. When we first came to UPAC in '06, we wanted to replace them. But it was very expensive, and also we had just so many other projects that were pressing and limited funds. So we cleaned them up as best we could, and we painted them. And that's lasted a remarkably long time, but now it's just becoming dangerous, windows are completely falling apart. Our effort to replace them got us a $100,000 grant from Mitchell Henschel, which actually made it possible. And we're in process. We're basically duplicating what's there. It really won't look, not that, we're not duplicating that. But we're duplicating what you see there. It won't really look any different. It'll just be real good glass and, new and a lifetime, I hope. And that's the project.
All right, so the transoms will be set up with the same number of panes as well as the six other
Everything's the
six.
same, yeah, you won't really notice any difference at all, which was, our intention. And color-wise as well. The differences for us is just in terms of maintaining heat and coolness, that never happened. I mean, they were like they may as well have been open. So, it's a huge change for us. We've also done some other work up there on the, water heater and, hot water heater and the furnace to, one of the first projects we did up there in '06 was the ceiling of the entire facade was collapsing. So now with this project, it'll finally, the entire facade should be sealed completely. Windows, roof, ceiling.
All right. Any questions from the commission?
How old are the existing windows?
Good question. It's a mystery. I mean.
I guess.
Well, the building's 1927. I don't think they're the original windows,
They're not.
because when we look at the old pictures, they just look different. They're also, some of the photos, I mean, they're all black and white. It looked like they painted them white, which was kind of an odd choice, but we don't really know. There's a lot of aspects of that building we're not really sure. The roof, for instance, it's just, and there's 7 roofs there, so, kind of mysterious. How many guess the 40s or 50s? That makes sense to me.
I know we saw some photographs of some of the windows in poor condition. Are they all that bad, or is there any potential, would there be any potential maybe to take some of the elements from a few of the windows and at least retain maybe 1 or 2 of the original to
Not from,
try and
I know what you're
maintain
saying.
character?
It's just not, there's not a window that's in like good shape,
Mhm.
period. Not one of them. Some are, as you see, some are unbelievably bad, some are, medium bad, pretty bad. But to restore them, we don't have the resources to do that for starters, but it's just, you wouldn't get any benefit from it.
Mhm.
It's gonna look exactly the same, no matter what we do. Just the nature of it.
So the new windows will have screens, or are they meant to be functional?
Yeah, they're meant to be functional,
okay.
totally. They're not really functional now. I mean, they can't be, it's too
Mhm.
dangerous and they'll fall apart. So yeah, no, they're totally meant to open and close. That whole second floor there's nothing in there. There's nothing going on, it's just storage.
That was my next question.
Yeah, and it's a tricky space and always has been. It was broken up many years ago. There were different, and some of that had to come down. We were doing the ceiling. And then we had HVAC that went through there, we did it 17.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just but the point is to seal it is gonna help us for the entire building, because we're just paying for, heat to leave and cooling to not happen. Maybe one day
So
somebody
are-
will renovate
So
them.
this is the second story on the front. Are there any other windows around the perimeter of the building or on the first
On the
floor
facade.
that you're gonna be doing as a next phase, or is this?
No, this
kind
is
of
it. We
complete
did-
state?
Back in '06, or maybe it was a little later, we did the rear of this building, of the facade. We did all the rear windows. So they're modern, solid windows. You can't see them, but they are sealing the building. And then later, I can't remember exactly when, we did all the first floor transoms and those old storefront windows. And replaced those basically in kind. Those were really brittle as well, much like the second floor.
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with LePage. Where are they located?
I'm sorry.
LePage Millwork, I'm not sure where they're from.
They're in Canada. They're the manufacturer of the window. We went through a millwork company based in Connecticut that was recommended to us by the general contractor that led the project at UPAC in 2017. My name's Betsy, by the way,
Sorry,
I'm the
It's an
facilities
ass,
manager.
record, yeah.
And,
facilities.
and they have used LePage, they put, windows in, a building at Hamilton College last summer that were LePage windows, and I've been told by them, even though they weren't a contractor on those projects, that there's a lot of LePage windows at, Vassar College.
So when SHPO looked at this and reviewed this, late last year, did they review that window?
Yeah, they got basically everything you've seen.
So they
they've seen.
reviewed that spec as well? Okay.
Everything. Yeah, we just duplicated what we sent to them to you.
Any further questions for either Mr. Silva or Ms. White, was it? No.
Betsy Garthwaite,
Garth?
I can give you a card.
Thank you kindly. Any further questions? Paint style questions? Hardware style questions?
It's meant to mimic the same color that's there now.
Pretty straightforward.
I'm of the mindset, Mark, that if SHPO has given this a go-ahead, then I'm similar.
Okay.
I agree.
All right, well, then I will entertain a motion that we declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
So
Thank you, Andrea. Kevin, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
I,
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote yes. Okay, I will need a text here. All right. I move that our commission find its fact that the proposed replacement of all second-story Broadway facing wood windows at 601 Broadway, a local landmark, by owner, let's see, House Bardavon.
Audubon Opera House.
Okay, we just got started. Let's move this. So it's Bardavon,
Opera House.
1869
Opera
Opera
House.
House, Inc.
Yeah.
Let's get that in the right order. Known to us as UPAC. It's done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-26L of the City of Kingston's form-based zoning code is compatible with the historic character of the landmark for the following reasons. That the proposed work is to take place at the two-story Colonial Revival Theater and Commercial Building situated near the corner of Broadway and Cedar Street, and that according to the July 2003 building structure inventory form prepared by David L. Taylor, was, quote, erected as a movie house in 1927 by the Kingston Theater Corporation and known by the 1930s as the Broadway Theater. The structure's design is the result of a collaboration between local architect George Lowe and Bridgeport, Connecticut theater specialist Douglas B. Hall. That the existing second-story Broadway-facing wood windows are severely degraded beyond restoration capability and require immediate treatment this year. That the 601 Broadway building is subject to 2 preservation covenants that require the property owner to seek New York State Historic Preservation Office review prior to undertaking any visual or material changes that could adversely impact the structure's integrity. That UPAC submitted photographs of the existing window conditions along with a request for permission to replace said windows with custom-made LePage millwork single-hung wood and aluminum clad windows made to match the design, operation, and color of the existing windows. That on December 14th, 2023, State Historic Preservation Office Historic Site Restoration Coordinators, Sarah MacGyver, determined that the proposed impact, quote, will have no adverse impact on historic and archaeological resources. That after reviewing the proposed project and supporting materials, HLPC shall follow the no adverse impact position taken by SHPO and permit the replacement of the existing windows with the proposed LePage millwork windows. That all wood windows approved for replacement must be transferred to an architectural salvage supply center or a professional historic preservationist for future reuse, and that the applicant shall provide a record of transfer as documentation to Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission. That any changes or additions to the plans and or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out. And that the commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 13th day of May, 2024, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nettie. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin? I also vote yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
If you need names of places that will accept architectural salvage, get hold of Ethan.
Yeah, what did you mean by that? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
So we tend to encourage that these types of materials, when they're removed, be transferred to architectural salvage, so that even, the panes or other components, if one sash is potentially salvageable, it gets reused. It's
Okay, so,
It would be for other buildings in and around Kingston or and some of these places cover the entire Hudson Valley, so.
so you want me to find a salvage company to take the old windows? Basically?
Basically, yeah.
And you can help us with that?
Yeah,
In terms of a list of companies that might do that?
yes, we
Yeah, there are several scattered up and down the valley.
Good, good. All right, beautiful.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
What's your timeline to get this?
They're on order hopefully this summer, right? That's the plan?
Yeah, maybe sooner than you think.
Yes, sooner than we think.
Good luck.
If all goes well.
If all goes well, yes.
Thank you.
So you'll email us like a list of these things?
Yes.
Your time, all right, beautiful. Thank you, guys.
All right, next up, 129 Maiden Lane. Hi. If you would have us, oh,
I don't know.
all right, pictures.
Well, this is everything, I think that I sent, I don't know if you put that up on the
Oh,
screen.
It would be great if you would mind displaying it. Do we need an easel? Because there is one
I can
behind.
set them over here, but
Well, there's an easel behind here.
there is, okay, sure. Oh, I see.
Mark, they've got to
You've got-
the cameras coming from there.
The camera's coming from there, so you want me to put this over here? Does that make any sense, or is this?
That's fine. I mean, everybody that is watching can see what is being
All right.
shown on the screen. It's just.
Okay,
They're very light, so.
all right. These are not exactly the same.
Oh, no, they're not,
All
well,
right,
no,
so-
that's a demolition drawing, I just brought the construction drawing here.
Do you
I didn't
have-
realize that you were gonna have all this up. I have that one. And that's what I have right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think,
Yeah, let's use the,
yeah, that's.
Will that work? All right, either way.
I didn't realize that
came
I sent
prepared.
everything electronically and that you were gonna use that.
It's
It's been a
amazing.
long time I've been here, so. All right, yeah, so this is the property at 129 Maiden Lane.
can you
It's,
just state your name for the record? I'm sorry.
I'm Dorothy Pearson.
Thank you.
I am representing Ms. Aditi Goswami, who owns this house at 129 Maiden Lane.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so, It's a stone house from the 18th century. It had at least two, probably three or four wood frame additions in the 19th century. This is the elevation along Green Street. It's not the main elevation, but it's right close to the street. I brought a site plan that shows how the building is oriented. The corner is kind of, you know, it's not a 90-degree street corner. It's actually more than 90 degrees, so that this elevation here is set back from the sidewalk about 4 feet, something more. So the idea is that the woman who owns the property, there's an apartment, in-law apartment that's up in this area on the second floor. She has a lot of house guests, and she wants them to be able to enter into this apartment without going through the entire house. So she asked if we could put a stair in to get up to the second floor, and we thought that we could put a door where a window exists right now. I do have photographs of what's existing there. The idea is to take out a window that's basically has been altered minimum one time anyway. It's got fixed glass block right now, which looks very out of character. So we want to stay within the width of the existing window opening and just cut down to the floor and put a door in. And then there would be steps that would come out to the sidewalk, bluestone steps. That way then people can enter in off the street, and we propose, you know, we have hardware that is antique bronze finish on it. And she also wants an exterior light that would also be antique bronze finish. And I sent images of those too. And then right now the building is painted white, the wooden part. And so we can just keep the same color, paint the door to match.
And is there going to be a storm door as well, or just the one solid door?
Just the one door. Because when you enter in, you're in a stair hall. So it's almost like entering in through a vestibule. That's the door hardware.
So this is strictly like for her guests, it's not to be rented as a separate apartment
Right.
by someone that's not familiar, so there would be like no mailbox or other kind of outward indication that it's a separate unit, right?
Right, yeah, no, it would not be, yeah.
Okay.
I think my only comment is the light on your elevation seems a little bit low. On the,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you might be right.
yeah, I would just double check that. You
Yeah.
know, I know there's a particular code section, I think it says minimum 6'8" to the bottom of the fixture.
Oh, really? Because the door is 6'8", so it would be way up high.
Yeah, to
Okay.
prevent
All right. People
smashing your head
into
into it, sure, yeah.
All right.
Right, when the basketball team comes to
Yeah.
visit.
Well, that like looks different than this. That
Yeah, I'm sorry.
that looks more like a lantern style.
I don't
Right.
blame you for that, we use the same catalogs too, so.
No, I actually drive. This is the one that,
So this is the one you'd be using.
yeah, this is the one that we would like to
all right.
use. I talked to Ethan and he said it was okay to present a couple different options, and I've updated the drawing so it shows to reflect this style, but when I sent the emails, it was the older one.
Any sense of the age of this edition?
It was there was a report that I submitted that Marissa Marvelli had done an historic analysis, yeah, and so it was in the 1800s, I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
It might kind of
Got it up.
Yeah.
All right,
She has a, I think they did a couple of different additions, and then they added a porch on the
Yeah.
other side as well. She had a diagram that showed the stone building and what the age was, and then where the wood additions were done. Yeah, they're, well, she just says they're mid-19th century.
okay, so around the Civil War,
Yeah,
somewhere.
there may be more specific information in the report.
Okay. Any further questions from commission members?
Maybe I missed it, but is there is that what the door will look like?
Yeah, it's a 2-panel door.
Yeah, oh, okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
How far back is the door set from the jamb? Is it at the back of the jamb? Is it right on the, is it flush with the siding? How does that work?
It would be up forward toward close to the facade.
Okay. So there's very little sort of protection on the entrance.
Well, there's a integral gutter up high there that projects out,
Oh, okay.
yeah, where the gable is.
Any further questions? All right.
One question, are we talking about where Marissa references and years of these? Somewhere between 1869 and 1905, the Fowlers, would this be the structure that they were involved with?
It might be, there's a gable that's oriented this way, and so that ends there, and then this was added
Yeah.
on, this was added on later, and then this was, I believe, even later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Marissa references some Sanborn maps which were on the screen before, which
Yeah.
shows how it was configured in 1887 and it became 1889 maps were published.
Okay, so this end of it may be even newer
Mhm.
than I was thinking.
So the door the window that's being replaced, is that the closet?
Yeah, it's a giant
So
walk-in
it's currently in
closet.
the closet there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so when someone walks in this door on the inside, they're going to, is there a new stair going up then? You said
Yeah.
they enter into a stairway.
Yeah, you come into, there's going to be a communicating door down here, but yeah, you would walk in here and there will be a stair that starts right here and takes you up to the second floor, and then you're in the main space of
Okay.
the apartment.
So that's a new internal, okay,
Yeah, yes.
all right.
Entertain a motion that we declare this type 2 action under seeker.
Motion.
Thank you, Kevin. Do I have a second?
Second, Andrea.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Aye from me. All right, move to the NOA. I move that the commission present find as fact that the proposed conversion of an existing window to an entryway door at 129 Maiden Lane, a local landmark by Aditi Goswami. If done according to the plan reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedure stipulated in section 405-26L of the City of Kingston's form-based zoning code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. that the proposed work is to take place at the 5-bay double pile, 2.5-story vernacular dwelling at the northeast corner of Maiden Lane and Green Street, which was, quote, built circa mid-18th century by the McLean family and burnt in October 1777 by the British, and which was modified to suit the changing needs of the McLeans and subsequent owners, the Schoonmakers and the Fowlers, over the next 200 plus years. That the new owner, Aditi Goswami, which is, let me correct the spelling here. We've got an extra wa in here. Aditi Goswami seeks to convert an existing window on the timber addition along Green Street into a new entryway door leading to a second floor staircase. That the proposed window is comprised of fixed glass blocks and is not original to the structure. That the proposed door shall be the same width as the existing window's opening and made of solid wood with 1/1 panels consistent with that of the structure's primary entrance along Maiden Lane. That the door shall be recessed. No. The door is not being specifically recessed. That the hardware shall be antique hardware supply, solid breast rectangular full-length Maurice entryway set. That the applicant shall install blue stone steps leading from the sidewalk to the proposed door that meet the building code. That the applicant shall install a single Feist-lighting Reading Station small outdoor wall lantern lamp in bronze color on the door's eastward side. That the commission reviewed the proposed project supporting materials and determined it conforms with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation and the character of the individual landmark, because it could be undone with a fair degree of ease at a future time if so desired by these or future owners. That any changes or additions to the plans of a work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out. That the commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the 13th day of May, 2024, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in her application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second? Second, thank you, Nettie. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea.
Aye.
Nettie.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
One question for you that has nothing to do with that, with the door, it has to do with the growth on the stone. Have you made a recommendation to the owner about?
The ivy,
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Oh.
or could be Virginia.
No, I have not.
maybe.
Yeah, it's either Virginia creeper or Boston,
Yeah,
Boston ivy, yeah. Is there a problem with
well, it looks nice, but,
It just destroys the mortar, it's right between.
Yeah, depending on what the mortar is made of, and in the old stone houses, they are more friable than, say, brick.
Yeah.
And it could eventually destabilize. It's something
Mhm.
you want her to take a look at. Am I saying this right?
Yes. Yeah, I'll talk with her about it.
Yeah, it would be a
Yeah.
good thing to mention. And you would hate to like have bits and pieces start falling off.
Yeah, it's funny, when we first looked at it, it was in the winter time and there really wasn't that much to look at, so
It grows fast.
I realized after a while, yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
pretty
for
much
sure.
covered.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, 48 or 46 North Front Street. I'm seeing a number in parentheses. Is that an older address number, or is this one of those hyphenated addresses?
It's hyphenated, well, it's two storefronts, so
Okay, we've got two storefronts. Hi,
How are you?
great. We may want to move that easel just.
Okay.
And for-
Watch your fingers. Evening, my name is Paul Jankovich. I'm the architect on the project. And that's the designation the post office gave the address. It was all under one. It was 44 North Front Street, and they gave us three numbers. It was for the Ashley and Chad for everywhere, that's 44. This one at the second floor is designated as 46, Ms. Tellis is 48.
Okay.
Okay. So, what we're talking about tonight is that, the second floor over Everywhere, has been unused for years. It was originally an apartment. And, we'd like to make use of that space, but it has limited windows and it has a very poor roof structure. And, the ceiling heights in parts of the building, many rooms, it's divided into a series of rooms, are only 5'5". Unusual.
True.
I don't know why it was built that way, but,
That's just upstairs or is it?
yes, just upstairs, yes, yes. So we'd like to remodel that second floor, and with that remodeling, to make it viable for apartments, we have to change the windows.
Is it occupied? Is the second floor occupied now? Because I would imagine that the building department would have cited those,
Yeah, no, it has
some of
been,
those conditions.
it has been occupied for years. Yeah, it's-
Okay,
Yeah,
that's-
it's a derelict structure. The roof structure right now just has ice and water shield on it, not even shingles on the roof. And I think I included some pictures of that. If we could
Are you
go back
going
one,
back to the old?
if we could go back one photo,
One, the older one?
Yeah.
Oh, you said down one, I'm sorry.
okay. I like the historical photo.
The historical, right.
Yes, if you could, please. Okay, this window is now a small sort of punch in the wall, okay? This has now become a parapet wall, okay, a false wall, all right? And the other windows, pretty much in this same location, we'll replace these two windows. The proportions have to change just slightly in order for me to get that 5.7 square foot of egress.
So that roof line there behind the
This-
dormer,
Yes,
right,
this-
that exists that way currently.
it does.
And that's gonna be pulled out and,
This will go across, okay? This will be a continuation of this storefront here, okay? This has a slight parapet wall on it also,
I get your.
all right, which will continue across and butt up against this other building.
Okay.
So we're
So
filling
you have
this,
a flat roof then?
yes, we're filling,
Totally flat roof, okay.
yes,
Angled pitch back maybe? between-
yes.
All right, so that's already filled in with today's wall.
No,
Yes, yes, go on to the next, let's go on to, if you could, go on to, okay. One more, I believe, to show what is existing today. Okay, yeah, you see that's all filled in straight across. Okay,
but it's in front where the little window is
Right,
not,
that-
it's
that
not a
was-
real wall because the roof doesn't come all the way out.
they built sort of like a tunnel to
Right.
that window. And that-
Yeah.
okay. And-
Okay,
Yeah.
more of a warren than I realized. All right.
So that window is the area that's 5'5".
Okay,
Okay, the living space in there. This is one bathroom, sort of like, it's been sort of, I don't know, people have taken certain fixtures out of it, but it was a functional apartment at one time. And you would go into this apartment through Stella's, basically. There's a doorway, a dedicated staircase, which serves the apartments over Stella's and will serve this building.
This is all under one owner. It does have three numbers, but it's all the common owner. Okay,
Okay. Wow,
all right.
all right, so,
So is the second floor access to all of the residential units, those above Stella's and those above this everywhere shop? That's all one separate access, separate from any of the commercial entities down below?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, now over Stella's right now, there's a one bedroom and a studio apartment, which we're not making any changes to the face of the building, but we're combining the studio into the one bedroom to make it a two bedroom. So there will be, when we finish, two apartments at this location.
Okay.
Okay,
And structurally, I mean, has the building been evaluated structurally to determine that the work that you're planning to do on the second floor here can be supported?
yes.
Or is there other needed additional work to do that?
Well, this is going to be, there are some cutouts, some holes in the floors and so forth from exhaust fans, skylights that I believe I've got some photographs of the roof structure, how this is broken up. It's a good structure from the first floor to the second floor, but above the second floor is where the issues occur. I think this is it. No, one more. Okay, this is, again, this is the reverse gable of Stella's. Okay, this is the roof over the area that we're talking about rebuilding. Okay, so this chimney, masonry chimney, serves no purpose today. This light well or vent shaft serves no purpose today. And you see that it's basically just clamped together, ice and water shield. And then if we could bring this up a bit,
So in
You can
that,
see-
in the one, can you go up a little, Ethan, to the top photo? Just give me, can you just give me, I'm trying to orient myself here.
This
Which
is-
way is?
I'm looking towards to North Front Street.
Towards North Front Street.
I'm in the back of the building.
You're on, okay.
Yep,
So that roof line above
that's Stella's.
that's Stella's?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, this is that original picture that you saw. That's this roof, still there today. Okay, you can see this big bow in the roof. So we would like to clean this all up, have it, a couple decent roof structures up here. And we're using, basically, you notice that it's two, Artie's in the original historical photo was a building, and the building next to it was an independent structure. So we have a load-bearing wall where this one roof structure comes down on.
Okay.
So we didn't expand the apartment because we're trying to catch all the load-bearing elements below. We have a tenant downstairs and we want to disrupt their business as little as possible. Okay. So what we'd like to do is keep the same color of the building that our tenants on the first floor painted like a coral color, and replace the windows with the similar windows, and put a cornice across. Okay, the sort of like to finish off the top of the parapet wall. And I suggested a division of windows, but looking at the neighborhood, we have this neighbor that does have a division of windows, but we're not, absolutely set on, the 6 panes. We could live with 1/1 if that's what the board wants. we can go along with that. And looking at the windows also, I would say that maybe at a second glance at it, I think maybe the window frame should be white instead of black, as I call that.
All right, so you have the movable windows and then the three lights above. Is that a transom that opens?
Yeah, transom, yes, it wouldn't be on, will be a fixed window.
Well, it looks like it chews into their sign, but that's another issue.
The sign will have to come back in next month, or the following month for the sign to be relocated.
And the importance of the transom for the design, it has to do with code?
No, the transom is just something to break up that sort of, you see over Stella's, large expanse exists over Stella's. I'm just not comfortable with that. So,
Right.
which is just an architectural.
Did you, have you looked at the new form-based code with the architectural standards and the window treatments and the design, and used any of that in this? Because
Well,
that does speak to, looking at windows, you know, on either side of buildings, that are abutting. It also speaks to, headers and footer, you know, on windows and sills and things of that nature that I'm not kind of seeing here. The other question I would have is the parapet, and while it seems like a fairly common design, I didn't know if that got pulled from like any other similar type of parapet design with the cornice up above. Is that something that might be in the area, or is it just, you just identified with that style?
I'm choosing a similar one on 59, or 57, the wine store that burned.
Okay.
So that's what I'm replicating here. And the windows I looked at, as far as my first design, showed the headers and the sills. And I eliminated those just because we're working with stucco, and I didn't want to put a number of false elements on the building. The windows are basically sized for egress.
And you chose stucco
It's
because,
pre-existing.
okay. Because that wasn't historic, that's why I was just wondering if there was
Yeah, and
another
it's
reason
just-
why you chose to stick.
Both Stella's in this building are stucco finish.
All right. So we have 1/1 on Stella's. We have 6/1 next door on the yellow building. Am I
No, 6/6.
6/6? Okay.
Yes. On the grill pattern, if the board has a grill pattern that they prefer, we're open to that suggestions.
Any feelings from board members on this, just visually? 1/1 to the right, 6/6 to the left.
I think the 1/1 makes more sense, given that it's also part of the same building, same aesthetic. The only thing I'm a little bit hesitant on is the transom above. Contextually, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, there is a building down further that has a removed transom that's higher up, closer to the cornice line, which, I mean, you could make an argument for that if there's room in your, but I think, you know, the parapet where it is and where your roof winds up coming, I don't know if you have room in the section for that.
Actually,
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know how anybody feels about that. And then you could also, that might help with your feeling that tall like forehead that you feel like you have with Stella's.
Yep.
So, and I mean, again, the style of the parapet, I think, there's a lot of, neighboring buildings that have similar responses to that, so I think that's appropriate. But yeah, I think my biggest concern is just the transom, and either don't include it, or if any other board members have a feeling about, there's a building further down in this shot, Ethan. Oh, it's on the same one, you just have to pan over a little bit.
The older one?
Yeah, the one to the right.
I don't think any of our photographs, maybe they don't include it. Okay,
It's there, I think.
Okay.
It's on this same shot here.
okay. Oh,
Which one are you?
this one here, that actually ventilates the attic space. It's a separate floor.
These up here. Like that,
Oh,
these separate.
right.
Right, yeah.
Completely. Yeah, okay.
Right, you can see the
Yeah.
Mickeys.
Mhm.
I think the ordering of them makes sense again, especially going across the facade, how it, I don't see any reason to have to mold them together, especially if the two on the far right are existing openings.
Right.
So that you get a symmetry in the order of the building. I think that makes sense.
So, and if the board wants, we can eliminate the transoms. I mean, whatever we do to this building is a vast improvement.
That's true. There's the bottom.
Right, there's a reason a parapet wall hides those roofs, wow. Okay, my thought also, I agree with you visually on the the transoms above. Does that change what would happen with the windows below, or we would just be filling that in
Well-
visually? I'm trying to just envision.
What it will do is help my downstairs
Sure, those are
tenant
placed.
maintain their sign.
This is true. And also, we have to kind of try and imagine this without the Pike plan. If that were to happen.
Yeah.
We've been waiting, we've been wondering, it may, there's a push again. We've been here for several versions, but just to try and imagine it without.
If that happens, we're gonna have a copious number of applicants, I think.
Oh, yeah.
If the pipeline goes, we have so much to make adjustments to.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of work.
I know. It's floating now, so I'm just trying to envision it and kind of having a hard time. But, all right, well, that's my own issue. Yeah, I would agree with you on losing the transom lights. It also is sort of a smoother transition from the lower windows on Stella's to the higher windows next door. Without the transom, I think it ties it to Stella's more visually. I like the parapet wall with the cornice. I think that's good placement and a reasonable way to deal. If I don't have strong feelings on 1/1 versus 6/6, but it will again visually tie it to Stella's in a nice way. And it's the same owner, that makes perfect sense. More so than leaning next door, which is a much taller building. I just visually, that's my sense of it. Anyone else have commentary?
I'm happy to lose the transoms as well. I think there's just a lot going on in a small space, and taking those out, I think will be tidy. Into tidy.
And for me, that just makes the flow of fenestration across the
Yeah.
building a little more even. Wow, I'm actually talking in architectural terms. Connie, since you're staring at this stuff, I should pick up a thing or two. All right. Any other questions for the applicant? Or staff?
Well, you mentioned that you have the, is it black or a very dark color in it, but, you mentioned white as a possibility.
Yes.
Would that go with the cornice as well, or would the cornice stay a darker color?
The cornice will stay a darker color.
Do you want to have white as an accent on the verticals? That's what it appears, but I can't tell if that's really.
No, it's just gonna be a lighter, just a contrast, just a slight tone difference. I don't want this to be like a painted lady, I just want it to be, so.
Okay, simplicity is good on that spot.
Yeah.
Okay. He's listening to you.
So I would recommend tabling and having Paul just come back. But I would also, when you do come back, just speak to the code sections that were cited in the notes. I think Ethan passed the notes along to you with the sections of the form-based code, the architectural sections. So just identify how you're complying with those sections of the
You
code,
mean
because
the-
otherwise
The sill in the
you're
head,
gonna be required to get waivers,
okay,
all right?
so you're talking about the sill in the head on the windows?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's mandatory for new.
Yeah, the code now requires that statement in the application. Is it, yeah, do we have to recite it as well? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, you are the review, in this case, this commission is the review agency for those architectural elements. Because it does not go to the planning board, so.
Right, so
Your
we
board
need
will
to
be responsible.
specifically
Yep.
address it in our findings of fact.
Mhm.
So we need you to cite to it as well. All right. Then I will entertain a motion to table to the June meeting.
So moved.
So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Also aye. Thank you
Okay.
for your flexibility, and wow, that was more going on back there than I realized. You've got a lot happening behind that parapet wall.
Now, it's just so I understand, we're dropping it to 1/1,
1/1 and
dropping the
the
transoms.
transoms, the parapet looks great. If you want to give us colors on that,
Yep.
that would be great. And also colors on the window. If you're going to try and match the parapet, or if you want it to just be white to simplify that part of it as well, it's up to you.
Okay.
Will you be coming back with relocated everywhere sign?
Well, that will stay where it is then.
Well, yeah, well, once you put the windows.
We're dropping the transom, so that,
Oh, all right.
So the windows will be significantly shorter,
Okay,
more closely
okay,
matching what's
okay,
on Stella.
Okay, sounds all right.
So you need to do both, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, we did do.
You did a motion and a second, but you didn't.
I
Oh,
haven't called the
yes.
roll because we
Yeah,
had a
yes.
question, we had further discussion.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea? Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I'll also vote yes. Thank you kindly.
thank you.
All right, next up. 8583 Broadway. Hello, Half Moon.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
If you could introduce yourself for the record and give us a quick overview of the project.
So my name is Kyra Grundig. I'm the owner of Half Moon Roundup Cafe. So we were recently located at 36 Broadway, which is across the street, which is the Heritage District, correct? And we recently moved to 83 Broadway due to some compliance issues. Things have changed since we first opened. We originally were not required to have a hooded ansel system for our 1960s donut machine.
Oh.
And it became more obvious that that gray area was gonna be going away, and probably due to our volume and how many donuts we're making. It was suggested to us that we either put one in or find a place that they had one. So my husband and I used to actually live above this building. We know the couple well that purchased it about 2 years ago. It has been my understanding that their renovations have been completely compliant with your board, and they have upheld the integrity to the historical aesthetics of the building. And so basically we wanted to just mirror what we had already had at 36 Broadway, which is the signage that is just done by Fast Signs. It's just the sticker portion on both windows. It's actually from the front looking in, you can actually obviously see the logo, but from the inside looking out, there's a lot of open space, a lot. And that was important to me. These windows are much bigger than the windows that we had at 36. And something that I had learned being at 36 is that looking out of the windows, you wanted to see out. You wanted to see the beautiful neighborhood. You didn't want to see the reverse side of your logo. So we have these positioned a little bit higher than the 36 Broadway logo, and they obviously, they're not permanent. These windows were completely replaced on the building, and we don't want to put anything on the building that is permanent. So they can easily be just taken off without hurting the brand new windows. But that is the only signage that we are proposing for the space.
Okay, so nothing projecting, nothing. That's it.
No, and if we did, we would obviously come to the board. We did have a small projecting sign that's way under the code restriction as far as size, but we haven't decided, and the owners are pretty particular and we know them very well. So we just wanted to get signage up that made sure people knew where we were, and
Right.
that was really.
We moved uphill.
We moved up the hill, and we like to keep it simple, we live in the neighborhood too, and we love the history of the neighborhood, and we want to keep its integrity also.
Right.
So under the new form-based code, signage, the review for signage is a little bit different, it's restructured. It goes through the planning office as an application first. We determine compliance, and then it goes to the building department. So there is no board, commission, technical review unless, in this case, it requires a minor waiver, because under the code, presently, window signage is limited to 25% coverage of one window only. So obviously, she's got two windows here, and the coverage would exceed the 25% of one window. So that is the minor waiver that is on the table. It's being reviewed administratively only. And we are bound, because it's in a historic district, to seek the recommendation of the commission on that waiver. So that is why it's here.
Okay. Well. Any comment, any question? Yeah, I don't think it disrupts the historic nature of the facade in any respect. Yeah,
Very modest, yeah.
yeah. And you kept it two simple colors, nothing neon. Yay. All right, okay then, type 2 under seeker.
Right, you don't need to do seeker because you're making a recommendation.
You have to do seeker. Lucky you. All right, then I will move that we would recommend approval based on what's been presented to the commission. Do I hear a second?
Second, Andrea.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck in the new space.
Thank you.
Next up is 311 Wall Street. This is, welcome back.
Thank you. this is signage only, and this was presented to the board over a year ago, and we let this application, this approval lapse. We'll go back
Right,
to it.
and now we have new rules.
Yeah.
Okay,
So this is the Oval Woods building, and we have a big empty facade. And we were trying to replicate the same lettering style, the same sort of format that the Oval Woods sign had, and just renaming the building. Okay, so the intent here is, but we do exceed the square footage for a sign.
right, because everything, because it's spread out that way.
Yes.
All right,
So these are, they'd be raised from the building, a halo effect with lighting behind us, the letters themselves, individually lit, only from the back.
oh, okay.
All right.
So, and that would be on at night, so you wouldn't have the same shadow effect that we're seeing here in the old photos.
That's
It would
correct.
be a separate sort of small, I'm trying to get a sense of how bright.
Just enough to, eliminate the wall behind it, to give it a halo effect.
Oh, so the lights would actually be on the
backside.
white wall behind it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think we proposed the same, there's no changes to this. And then we just let it lapse for about 2 weeks too long.
All right, any questions? Folks remember this from last year? Yeah, as do I. And again, this is our recommendation.
Recommendation on waiver, correct?
Okay, so I would move that we recommend approval as submitted.
Second.
Thank you, Nettie. Any further discussion? We'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Aye. That was quick. Next up, discussion. Form-based code review. All right, this is our proposed letter.
That's right.
Welcome to something you need to help. All right. I think I sent you my comments.
Yes,
Okay.
Let's do the letter first and then we.
Then we'll double back.
Yeah, well, we were actually thinking of, for both the form-based code, we have an updated version. We'd like to maybe schedule a special meeting of the commission to just go through that in detail. It's not something you can do in 5 or 10 minutes. I think you really, it's very important, it's very important language that will be presented to the task force that's reviewing in updates to the form-based code. And so we want to make sure that what goes in is very clear and it's what you want. That's what will be the law. And Ethan has done a really good job pulling from multiple communities, from state model language, listening to your feedback and your comments. So it's kind of a culmination of a lot, but it does make some significant changes that we want to be clear that you all understand thoroughly what you are then going to be presenting as new language for the HLPC.
Right. And at the very least, it is a huge step up from the kind of mishmash that
It
happened in
will also be
1970.
eliminating the other section of the code that really is kind of outdated. So it'll be eliminating one section and then updating the form-based code, what's in the form-based code now, even beyond what we have already
Right.
updated.
The form-based code kind of lifted most of the old language, but the city code still retains the original, I'm trying to remember the history, but I think they focused first on the stockade, and there's a whole section on that, and the terms are entirely different than what's in the more general review, and so we've been juggling that for decades. And this is a huge step forward to just clean it up. And also, if we change some of our language, we can rely more completely on what courts have already ruled. We use some fairly idiosyncratic Kingston-only kinds of stuff that everyone else thinks, why do you do that? We have a lot of that, interestingly, because we were kind of our own pioneers. God bless Ed Ford wherever he is, but he struck out on his own, and it was a great idea at the time, but it was still all kind of new. Now we are trying to fit ourselves into a larger picture across the state. And yes, that's a huge step for us, just in terms of the defensibility of all our decisions. So those are things that I'm looking at when I read it as a lawyer. You will have a better feel for whether architectural stuff is being read, and you will be able to tell us if this makes any sense at all. Which is often the question.
Little weekend meeting.
We're all bringing brownies to your house.
Sounds good.
I think that's the next meeting. That's a very special meeting. You won't want to miss it. No one's allergic to anything, right? All right, so we're looking to table that issue.
Right, but so we would be, we'll probably be putting out, like a doodle poll in the next week or so to look at some potential dates. So if you don't have to give this tonight, but if you can, like, within the next day or so, email Ethan and I, if there's any, like, absolute no dates, like, I'm going away for this week, please don't plan anything that week kind of thing.
Are we looking into June, or are we still looking to get this done?
Well, we're actually halfway through May already, so we've got Memorial Day coming up. I mean, we can potentially maybe look at the end of May, but probably early June, mid-June.
Okay. Friday, I think it's the 7th. I am on the road to my really too high a number high school reunion.
So just send us those those dates that are not going to work. Kevin, I know you've got a lot of other meetings, so you can, kind of chop out a couple of times that might be good for you. Even if they're reversed. Yeah.
Yeah, see them backwards.
I see when your living room's available.
All right,
Yeah.
We're all coming and watch out. All right. The revisit on the frequently asked questions.
Yeah, I think that's done. I don't know if anybody looked at the link that Ethan provided. Can you pull that up real quick? I think that is done and ready to be just accepted. If we can quickly look at that, I'd like to, be able to add that into our application and post it on the website so that it is available for people. But I think we've, again, incorporated pretty much all of your comments. We've looked at it a couple times now, so unless there's something else that is out there. I mean, obviously it's a document we can always change if we see something, grossly wrong with it. But I think it's in shape to adopt and say yes. We really don't need a vote, but if you want to just say, yeah, I agree. Looks good to me. Good work, Ethan.
Right.
All right, so we're going to move that, and we will now post that on the website, and it'll be part of our application. Okay.
So
The
the last order of business is a letter in support
Yes.
for a certified local government grant. We are a certified local government, which allows us to get extra money from SHPO for wonderful projects like is proposed here. And
So.
has everyone had a chance, or have I got the only copy?
No, that was written today, so
You can pass the other one.
yeah.
But we recognize that the period of applications for the 24 cycle is open and will be through May 31st. And so with the help of Sue and then grants management, we've been throwing together an application because we now understand that at minimum, this grant would cover Wilbur, and we'll be seeking out other funding for Pankaki. But Wilbur also now has enough signatures to also proceed at minimum on the local level. And so that's enough is a good sign in communication to SHPO that there's community support, not just on local, but for state and national. And so this letter that's before you is a recommendation from the commission to SHPO CLG Review Commission.
The only thing I see immediately is we've double Wilbur.
Okay.
Folks that will come in morning to the whole thing, or is?
There are additional signatures that are coming in. There's members of the PAs, the PAC that had been going around getting more. Alderperson Shabbat is also working towards it.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, and so I think it's happening, maybe a little slower, but it's still coming.
And did we extend to cover the additional 2 properties that we're interested in joining?
Sue and I had met with the 2 churches and we were supposed to have another meeting. Reached out, there was a scheduling conflict at one point, and so we're just trying to get that second meeting.
Okay. All right. Why do I have Mr. Ed saying, oh, Wilbur?
Well,
This is bad. I'm reaching my limit. All right, I think this is excellent. Do you need a vote on this? Shall we make it official?
Yeah.
Yes, I move that we support Kingston's application to the local government grant program for listing the Wilbur Historic District as proposed on the state and national registers of historic places as well as local. Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Nettie?
I,
Kevin?
Aye.
I as well.
Okay.
All right.
So there's a little typo on that. So if we correct the typo, do we have permission to just sign in initially your name?
You do.
Thank you.
Done. Any further business to come before the board?
Do you have more updated resumes?
Yes, if you could all send me updated resumes for the grant application that have been submitted with the 21 application, I'll do that again.
Nothing has changed. You may use the old.
Yeah, I don't think much has changed with me. COVID is,
Okay.
too many.
Anything changed? Because we submitted all of your resumes last time, with the 21 application. And so we just want to make sure, I don't think you have changed, you're still the same place.
I have other extracurriculars that I do, that's why I.
Okay, so take a look at yours.
I probably some extracurricular. I have.
Okay, so take a look at yours.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, and then we'll have to email Robert.
Right.
To get his.
And is there any hope of someone joining us?
There had been a couple people, but we can only call them so many times, where you don't feel like you're stalking them.
So civic responsibility.
That's right. And we'll be asking you in your driveway at 7:30 in the morning.
I had somebody submit, an application and they don't live in the city of Kingston. They have a Kingston address, and so they thought that that was good enough. Oh,
Nice try.
sorry. Yeah, it's a town of Ulster. So, I mean, it would have been a really good person, but, yeah, we're still, I mean, we're still looking.
And this may become more important. I am being elevated from vice president to president of the Ulster County Jewish Federation. This is a strange time to be taking on this position. I have no idea. And it may swallow me. If it does, I may need to resign here. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, we'll resign there.
Yeah.
Courted you?
They more than courted me. I've been the vice president for a couple of years. They wanted me to do it last year, and I said, nominate me now. And I don't know enough about the organization yet. I came to them through the Career Center. I handled the transfer from the Federation to the museum, which required a fair amount of finagling through the state and getting their approval. And then they just decided, oh, you should go do this, join our board. And I have marched up, and we can't keep the poor guy who's been president for the last 3 years.
Well, I mean, obviously you travel in circles, legal circles that we might not touch upon, and having your legal background has really been helpful. So I don't know if we would have any other recommendations, not that you're leaving right away, but just maybe we can start courting those people.
Yeah, it's all your life. What are you laughing at?
Yes, it's a lovely thought, but I think I'm in this for 2 more years to make up the extra year of college my daughter had. So.
It's always that, right?
Yeah, you don't, there's some things you don't expect. I just wanted to toss it out there that getting someone else on here may prove more important than I had otherwise imagined. Because,
That's what I'm saying.
Folks are camped out.
Every one of each of you, if you have colleagues or, people that, they do obviously have to have a certain degree of historic,
Inclination.
experience in that, and background. I'd love to get somebody like in the contracting business,
Just thinking that.
like in the construction business that does actual physical restoration work. I really would like to have somebody like that.
Would Bob Carey consider coming back?
I don't know.
He was truly a joy to have on here. He was able to just lay out what materials.
I can reach out to him. I haven't talked to him in a while.
He'd have to recuse from the ICC if that ever comes back, but.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, you say building trades, and he's the first name that pops into my mind. He served on the board for about 6 years. He redid City Hall.
Oh, well.
He is
We
skilled.
did a few
and
projects
knowledgeable.
too. Yeah, well, several, but
Yeah,
me personally, I don't have a few.
And the person else.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's done some good work around the city for decades.
But
Or
what-
is his daughter still in the area? She studied construction management. Corinne.
Corinne's in the area, yeah, it's a building down in the Roundup,
That's right.
actually. One of the, might be his nephew, I've talked to recently about.
The electrician's son, Jim is his brother?
Might be one of Jim's sons.
Okay. Because, yeah, that is having him on the commission,
Yeah,
he answered a lot of people's questions so succinctly, so directly. The sort of thing that you or I think this is possible, and he would know absolutely.
yeah. I mean, there's been a few people here that have come before the board that we've kind of approached after the fact
Oh,
too.
that's a nice
And, said, would you be interested? And some of them have said yes, but then they just don't, they don't carry it through. So
Right,
we're trying.
all right, we'll keep trying to, but if you agree that he might be willing to come back, or if he doesn't, he might know someone who would be good. Yeah. I'm a little reluctant to bring in, say, a Windows specialist or something like that, because we wouldn't be able to refer to people without any claims of steering to a board member.
Why would you be reluctant?
I was just thinking, if we had asked Mr. Silva to go get a Windows specialist, like a restoration specialist. I think there are 2 or 3 in the area that we give people names for, but I don't know if any of them live in the city of Kingston, for example.
Yeah.
I just toss that out as someone in the building trades, but maybe not someone who's very specialized in historic preservation. I don't know, or maybe if we can get someone who's very specialized.
I mean, there wouldn't be, obviously, if they worked for an individual, they just wouldn't be able, like Andrea, if there's a
Right.
project that Dutton works on, she works on it for him. She can't represent, she can't sit on the board. She
Right.
recuses herself. It'd be a similar thing.
Okay, so that's
But
a
there's a
wrap.
lot, still would, I think, there's a lot of advantages to having that skill set represented as a board member.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm being too worried about the
Yeah.
appearance of the propriety. Yeah, there's a way to handle it.
No, that's why you have more than one member.
Right. Thankfully. Yeah, we haven't gotten down that drastic yet. We've always managed
Not a
quorum.
dictator yet.
But only on day one. Whenever that may be. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
By acclamation.